This is a brief video where I'll discuss your lead assignment with you and give some general feedback to the class as a whole. So the first thing I want to talk about is what a lead actually is. And it's not necessarily a single sentence or a single paragraph. Harrower talks about this a little bit in your reading from Inside Reporting. It is basically a complete thought that introduces your reader to the most important information involved in a story. And it's only self-contained to the extent that it comprises that whole thought. And usually when you transition from the lead to the other information to the next level of the inverted pyramid, what you're doing at that time is shifting from an effort to make your lead a concrete entity to an effort to tell the full story. You can do that either by beginning at the beginning and starting chronologically, or you can do it by organizing the rest of the information along the lines of what is the most important in sort of a classic inverted pyramid style. So a lead doesn't have to be only a single sentence long or only a single paragraph long, but it should be clear when you write your story when the lead ends. Of course, it starts at the beginning, and when the lead is over, then you start with the rest of the information. And I liked the advice that Harrower gave in the textbook. Basically, an editor should be able to cut your story from the bottom up without thinking about it too much. Okay, so the inverted pyramid style, in essence, means the lead goes at the top. It tells readers what is the most important, and from there, it's less and less important information. Okay, so we're talking about leads. Some of you submitted leads that are only a sentence long. I think it's difficult if you have a lot of information and the situation is complex to encapsulate your story in a single sentence. A lot of times you need 2 or 3 to get the job done. One of the common problems that I saw in the submissions was that some of you mistook a headline style sentence for a lead. When we're talking about leads, we're talking about the first part of the actual story. A lot of times reporters or PR employees, other people that are writing in the news style, will be asked to supply a headline or a title to an article or a piece of writing, but this is a separate thing from the lead. So if you have written a headline style sentence as part of your lead, then this is going to be indicated to you in the grading of your leads exercise. So that was one of the first most common problems, using these sentence fragments such as Smith County Sheriff warns budget cuts mean layoffs, right? So that's not a complete sentence. That's a headline. All right. So keep those out of your leads. And I know there was one student in particular who had some very well-written headlines as his leads, and what you'll have to do is just go back in and turn those sentence fragments into complete sentences. Another common problem that I saw in a lot of the leads was just proofreading, errors of spelling, errors of punctuation, especially punctuation, and errors of grammar. So we don't want those in our leads. We don't want those in any of our written exercises. One of the main objectives of this course is to learn how to get these unprofessional errors out of our professional writing. So if you have sometimes, now and then, if the lead was very good, I went ahead and gave it 2 points and let these errors slip. But if you have errors in your leads, you'll find that you only received 1 point for it out of 2 on the grading. Okay, so another common problem with these is that the essential facts of the story, 1 or 2 of the essentials was left out. For example, you might have written that a man was beaten to death with a baseball bat in his neighbor's garage, but not said when. Okay, so your lead has to have the when on that, because if you're picking up your metropolitan newspaper and someone died in the suburb, 3 miles away, then a natural question is to say, when did that happen? So we want, the reading that I gave you about the 5 W's, those are important. If it doesn't say when, then it's not a good lead. If it does, well, there are exceptions to that, but in a straight news style lead, either in the first sentence or in a follow-up sentence, you're going to be covering the W's, not necessarily always an explanation of how or why, but the who, what, when, and where, those have to be in there. So another common problem was that you were missing crucial information. Something that I saw less often, but that is probably an important point to make here, is these creative leads that are kind of funny, and some of you provide really nice ones, and I appreciate that, are inappropriate for something like a death when you're initially reporting a death. So I was reading back through the textbook, and I remember that Harrower uses this example of when a man was sentenced for killing his girlfriend, and he wrote an almost humorous lead. The man so loved the victim that he beat her with a pistol and shot her in the head, right? So to me, that's a kind of a borderline humorous lead. But the difference between that and making a joke about, sort of a jokey lead about the man killed with the baseball bat, is that there's already been a lot of time between the death and the murder trial has taken place. The man has been convicted. In the second case of the humorous lead where the man kills his wife or girlfriend. So, if the situation is very grave, then a humorous lead might be inappropriate to the news. So keep that in mind as you write these. I certainly encourage you to write these humorous leads that examples are given of in the book, but we can think about how such an approach might be more appropriate for example, the stinky fish story than it would be for the man who's beaten to death with a baseball bat while helping his neighbors. So those are some of the common problems that I saw. I tried to give you an example, a list of problems that I saw in your particular work as I was doing the grading. And what I'm going to do is open the quiz back up, this leads writing exercise. I'm going to open it back up for a second attempt, and if you would like to resubmit leads that you received only 1 point on, or in some cases there were some zeros as well, then I'll regrade the leads that you resubmit and revise your grade according to your revision. So let's keep working on these, and I also am going to provide some examples of editing some of your leads in some other short videos, and maybe you could watch those videos, read my brief comments on your first round of leads, and then take another shot at writing your leads. I will be happy to grade those a second time and use the grade from your second attempt to as your final grade on that exercise.